what can you say about Lou Williams other than the fact that he is the all-time leading bench scorer in the NBA and probably for most of it should have been starting? He has been brilliant. He was unbelievable in what was, look, we know Golden State didn't play well, but the greatest comeback we've ever seen in a playoff game. And it has been a story of hard work and perseverance that has put him here.
He was legendary.
I walked into an open gym when he was in high school, and he was a little bit late, and he walked in and said, check ball, and killed everybody.
He made the most unbelievably quick move I've ever seen in my life.
Remind me so much of myself.
He was built for the fourth quarter. Professional scorer.
All-time leader off the bench in points scored.
The best in the history of the game.
My man right here is an all-star.
I'm happy I stuck around long enough for people to kind of appreciate what I bring to the table.
I didn't come in thinking I was going to play right away. I was a 17-year-old kid. And once you survey the scene, you obviously recognize early on that there's a superstar in front of you in this position that you watched and you idolize everything that they do.
It ain't no real game, man. What? I ain't never seen you score in no real game. Go get taught.
He was receptive to it all. With guys like us that come in with raw ability is, getting the mental part of everything.
AI taught Lou how to be a pro. Don't look at the mistakes I make. I want you to be better than what I am.
Over time, when we developed a relationship, that's when it became more of a mentor and a mentee where I would start watching things. He would show me things. We would talk about things.
He looked up to me. He knew how much I cared about him. It was easy for him to listen to me because he knew I wasn't telling him anything wrong, telling him anything to hurt.
He probably wanted me to get the full AI experience, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we did. I seen a lot with my man, so yeah. Being in your 12th year, pretty successful run, you're like, maybe it's the game changing on me.
He could easily gave up. In my conversation with him, I said, hey man, this is when you stamp your pages now. I told him from day one when he got here, I said, you're gonna love playing for Doc Rivers.
Sat down with Doc, and he was like, I don't know what they thinking, but this home, so you can get comfortable being here.
The sixth man of the NBA season. Oh, Lou Williams.
Shoots for the win.
It's an honor to receive this award tonight. I want to thank the Clippers organization for giving me an opportunity to be myself, allow me to go out on the floor, do my thing.
I remember writing, Lou will never have a season like he had last year again. That was a one-time only thing, and incorrect.
Lou will fire the three. Bingo! Lou Williams.
He's the ultimate starter off the bench.
I'm feeling home. I've been nice coach.
He's proven guys wrong consistently, year after year. And it's funny, the older he gets, the better he gets for some odd reason.
Lou's having one of the best seasons off the bench in NBA history.
Lou Williams. Oh, it goes slam dunk! Oh, real right. Got to his left, fires and scores. He's amazing. I mean, he's absolutely amazing.
He doesn't shy away from the big moment, wants to be in that moment, wants the shot at the end.
Williams. Good! What a shot! Lay it up. That should be enough to make him the highest scoring bench player in the history of the NBA.
The 14th years, I'm not shying away from the attention. Make some noise for me this time around because I've had plenty of years where nobody cared.
It's about time that he's given the recognition and basically the honor that he definitely deserves. There's no way you can sit here and say any other name as sixth man of the year.
Being the go-to guy off the bench is it's almost like unprecedented in NBA history.
He always had the physical ability, but you can tell, where his mind is at. He wanted to be more than average. And ultimately, here we are today.
Simmers bring it in. 5 seconds to go. Tie game. Seatbelts are fastened. Lou Williams for the win. Bingo!
Oh my goodness. That just, oh my goodness. That just happened.
I came from nothing basically in my career. There's something and then it grows and then it grows.
Pass it around the room until Lou gets it. All right? Pass it around the room until Lou gets it. Yes, sir.
having the opportunity to win another 6-man, having the opportunity to go to the playoffs with this team, I'll embrace this one.
The story of Lou Will has been not just about all that he has done from a mental side and the confidence, but and certainly from this area, but a lot of talent and a lot of ability. When you look at both of you guys and having to defend guys, you watch tape, right? We watch more of it now, and you know tendencies. It has been clear which side he's trying to get to, but how many teams have we seen this year and over the years? He'll just sneak you this way for a little bit, and you know, and you still can't stop it. What are you guys seeing as we look at the video that the Warriors are doing maybe better than some teams have done, trying to kind of lock them down on one side?
Well, every player has tendencies. I mean, the great ones are able to, go out there against the scouting report. But right here, Golden State, one of the top defensive teams, forced him to his right. Obviously, a great contest there, late contest by Klay Thompson. Lou Williams loves to go left, shoots well going left. Right here, forming a wall so he has nowhere to drive. And then Klay Thompson once again getting on that on that left hand, forcing Lou Williams into a tough shot going to his right, Bredan.
Yes, you got to continue to influence him to his right. You can't just open up the gate. He's still good enough to get there if possible. But you see right here, going right, meets a long defender, Kevin Durant. Make sure he meets him at the basket, doesn't foul, and that's very important as well. So when you're playing against Lou Williams, he's a very different player. He's a right-handed player that you want to force right. That's normally not the norm, but you want to force him right because he likes to go to the left to get his jump shot, his step back, and everything else off, and he feels very comfortable driving left. And then at the same time, you have to be wary of fouling him because he's excellent at going to the free throw line. He has all the tricks to find a way to sneak to the free throw line. So you see that Golden State has done a very good job, especially lately in this series, of influencing Lou to his right hand and then not fouling him. That's what they did last game. They did a very good job of that. And if they do that again tonight, it's going to be a very tough game.
So what the Warriors said, and for those who didn't, when we're sitting here doing the presser the other night after they won, first thing Klay Thompson said on the floor and they said during the press conference was, we are going to apologize to our fans. We are going to apologize to our fans, and basically with our performance for what we did to them in front of them the last time we were on this floor. You know they're coming out on one. They'll probably win this game either way. And that's just being fair because of the amount of talent. Doc's did a great job. But one thing that we all noticed, we've done some Clipper games, guys, is that first unit would keep them in, and then the second unit would push them over. That first unit hasn't kept them in because Gallinari, who's been the focus of it, most of the time to free up those guys for three, has had probably the worst week of his season. How much is that what Golden State has done? How much has that hurt them? Because, I mean, he's missing a ton of these shots that he hit all year.
He's missing shots, and obviously some of them have been open. But I think the frustration overall, really the entire series, this is like Gallinari. Golden State, they have so much length. They have guys that can defend, that are long, that can contest his shot. He can't really use his size to get to his spots on the floor and shoot over you. And he can't use his quickness like he would against a bigger guy to get by you. So it's been frustration for him. And then when he gets an open look, because he's not he's rushing, and so he has not been good. And really, I think it's more so what Golden State has done. Just not a good matchup for him for the most part. And look, if they're going to have any chance tonight, he's going to have to show some life, be aggressive, make some shots, play with confidence, and give that second unit, as you talked about, Casey, something to work with when they come in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a relay race, right? I mean, he's passing it already by 28% from the floor. Look, whatever you think of Gallinari, this dude could shoot, and he's missing all these open shots.
And it's basically what Grant Hill just said. It was the fact that when you look at the fact Gallinari is used to having a mismatch, and he says, oh, you put somebody small on me, I post him up. Then at the same time, you put a bigger player on me, I take him outside. Golden State has so many defenders that do multiple things that can frustrate him. Whether you're throwing Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Iguodala on him, he doesn't get a mismatch. He doesn't get an advantage. So what that leads to him is him not feeling comfortable in one-on-one situations. And you know how that is, G. Then you start to get frustrated. You miss some shots, and now you're 1 for 4, you're 1 for 5, and then when you do finally get an open shot, you rush it. Because you're putting so much pressure on your shot, and then the playoff pressure starts mounting on you, and all that can just get into your psyche. And right now, I think Gallinari is in his own head. He has to slow the game down, understand that what he's done all season long can still work in this series. He just has to take his time and put those past games behind him and move forward.
Now, I'm glad you started using both. By the way, you know where I'm going. You know, it's exactly. See, that's why he does exactly. We worked together way too many times. Too many years. Because he said Steve Smith to Smitty. Now he said Grant Hill. I'm glad you're doing that. That's Kevin Durant, right?
You know his name.
Because he said, I'm Kevin Durant, just in case we didn't know.
You know his name.
I'm pretty sure we know now.
You know his name, right?
I think it's Kevin Durant.
You know my name?
You know where he's going to play? Pretty sure we know now.
You know his name, right?
I think it's Kevin Durant.
You know my name?
You know where he's going to play? Leading shot blocker target on the street. That defense, with the way that he has played, whether he's on one, as the cool kids would say, or whether he's just Kevin Durant, either way, he knows the relationship he's got with his coach, Steve Kerr, and how he keeps himself right mentally and physically has put him in this spot.
You and Coach Kerr yell at each other during a game, then express
Keep himself right mentally and physically has put him in this spot.
You and Coach Kerr yell at each other during a game, then express support and respect after the game. How would you describe your relationship with him?
Well, it's basketball. I mean, I think everybody puts all of their emotions into the game, to the preparation, and just to the craft. So at all times, you're not going to be happy at all times. You're not going to be sad at all times. I think there's a perfect balance between your emotions, and they show out on the court. I think when you play in this game, every player you get to see the real core of each person when you're watching them play the game. And that's if you're paying attention. So, so at certain moments, pressure-packed moments, heat-packed moments, there's going to be some words that the presentation may be a little different, but the message is the same.
What's different about the pressure to win a third championship in a row, as opposed to perhaps the pressure that you felt in your first season here and then into your second season as well?
I wouldn't call it pressure. I think it's more so, how can we be the best version of ourselves individually every day, and how can we bring that together to make a great group? And I think that's the focus every day. That's tough in itself. That's the pressure in itself, is the getting up and being laser focused on what your job is every day. So I'm just looking forward to being mentally and physically on top of my game and being the best that I can, just so I can be prepared for anything.
Is that how you approach any potential matchup?
I think that's just how I approach life at this point.
Look, us talking about Kevin Durant, you should get used to that, because it's pretty much going to become a regular occurrence, like every sentence of every segment of every show. We might have the Kevin Durant special where we just do 24 hours of a telethon going into free agency.
Oh, see, people like you is who Kevin Durant talking about. People like you.
He's talking about us.
Yeah,
people like me.
People like you. Talking about his free agency all the time.
I'm sorry. That's what you do when somebody is a dude, and we know he is. So Grant, as somebody who knows what it's like to have, I would have gone to B-Wood for this, but Grant, as somebody who knows what it's like to have the pressure of being one of the best players in the league and the face of a franchise, do you feel an onus of making that decision, even minute by minute on the court? When do I dominate and kind of impose my will, and when do I make others better around me? Because that seems to be kind of what we're asking here about Kevin Durant.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. When I was in that role, I had a different sort of responsibility. I was a facilitator, kind of a point forward out there. So there's always that fine line between getting yours, but also getting everyone else involved. But Kevin Durant is a scorer, and one of the best scorers that this NBA has ever seen. So when he goes in those first two games and takes few shots, I think he averaged 15 shots, took 15 shots in the two games combined. And then he comes out and doubles that in games 3 and 4. Like, that's what we need from him. And so it's a little bit surprising, and I think that's where all the mystery and the questions and sort of what's going on here. Beverly was, in his face and being very active and animated defensively, and Durant got tossed there in game 1. But his lack of engagement, that was a thing that was a little bit troubling, just because he's so good and so talented as a player. He, seemed to get the message. Game 3 came out, sent a message, a statement, got back to form. I think overall it kind of woke the team up a little bit, and they looked super engaged in those last 2 games. But player with that talent, that kind of ability, like, all you should be thinking about is looking to score. And the problem should be if you're off and you're not hitting your shot, okay, then what can I do to add value, defensively, facilitating, whatever the case may be. But for him to take, few shots in a big game, and particularly a game they lost, that's just not acceptable, and I think that's where all this has come from.
I think at the end of the day, it's just about understanding the game-to-game game plan, understanding the situation. And Kevin Durant has to be aggressive, but then at the same time, he's part of a great team. So Klay has to be able to get his, Steph has to be able to get his. So he has a very tough job, because he has to understand when it's his night to put up. 21, 22, maybe 25 shots and be aggressive and take it over like we saw him do in multiple NBA Finals games, or when it's time for him to say, hey, this is Clay's night or this is Steph's night. So there's a happy medium, and it's very tough because he clearly is their best scorer, but some nights he has to rein it in and dial it back. I think early in the series, he dialed it back a little bit too much. These last couple of games, he showed us the real Kevin Durant. And you know his name, don't you, Casey?
I do.
You know mine, too.
Grant Hill. As opposed to the other Grants here, so we give both names. One thing we're sure of, Clint Capella, we can underrate him. You can't overrate the importance and what he means to this team. Is he healthy? Ali LaForce will join us. Get the latest on both sides. Get ready in Houston for game number 5. All right, good to have you inside our welcome inside our show. Casey Stern, G. Hill, B. Wood. Come on, man. It's like Oxy. I got to get out there before you get at me.
Don't worry about it. I'm coming in. I'm gonna be calm today.
The sometimes Friday, Wednesday Night Live crew is here with you. We got all night long 2 big games in the Western Conference, but big shots. That's what the playoffs are made of, and the NCAA tournament, which you guys have been a part of. But last night was a different kind of animal. 37 feet. It seemed like 400 miles, as in how far away from all of the rockin' baby talk the Thunders were just a couple of games later. And a wave goodbye from Dame, and a hello to plenty who stood and applauded. D. Wade, Dame, damn. How about LeBron? That shot. Speaking of big names, Yusuf Nurkic, my point guard, Rip City, he was applauding from the bench. And not done yet, Donovan Mitchell, disbelief, which is kind of a good segue into seemingly what came from the man defending the shot in Paul George on that play.
The bad shot. Care what anybody says, that's a bad shot. But hey, he made it. That story won't be told that it was a bad shot. We live with that.
So it was a great feeling, you know. When it left my hands, it felt good. I felt good about it, and the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, I just kept telling myself like, for us to get this game, we was gonna have to really, really dig, you know, to come out on top. So the fact that I kept telling myself that, and then we came out on top and the shot went in, I was like, man, it really happened. You know, we really dug and poured it out. So it was a great feeling. The series was over. You know, that was it. And I was just waving goodbye to him. And I think after game 3, you know, Dennis Schroeder was out there pointing to his wrist. They was out there doing all these celebrations and doing all this stuff, and we kept our composure. And after one win, that was what they decided to do. And we was just like, okay, what we want to do is win 4 games. And then when we win those 4 games, it's not going to be nothing to talk about. So that's what that was.
Yeah, I want to start here, and I am not trying to put last night, because it really shouldn't be on Russ. But did Paul George just sitting next to Russell Westbrook call that a bad shot? Because he has seen a lot of what looked like bad shots. Just sitting next to Russell Westbrook called that a bad shot? Because he has seen a lot of what look like bad shots to coaches that become great shots go down all year. G. Hill, Dame last night, where do you put it in terms of big shots you've seen as a player, covering it, or even growing up watching this game?
Yeah, I mean, being around the game for so many years, you've seen, been a part of big shots, big moments, but nothing quite like that. A sidestep 37-footer for the game. Like, you know, sometimes you hit that shot right there, maybe the clock running low, and you know, trying to get the ball off the court. I remember Steph Curry hit a shot against Oklahoma City a few years ago. I don't know if that was for the game. I think that might have put it to overtime. But that was the shot he was going to take. Like, he was sizing him up. And to say, I'm going to take this shot to close out a series against a very good team. And say what you want what Paul George said. That was decent defense. I mean, he kind of was up there. But I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that.
No, I know it's first round, but The first thing I thought of was like Joe Carter and the Jays winning a World Series with a walk-off homer, because that was the kind of thing where it was one-on-one, and this is a team game, but in that sense, the time's running down, Brendan. You're almost thinking they're watching it. Does he know how much time is left? Oh, he knew exactly how much time was left.
Yeah, I mean, he knew how much time was left, and he knew what time of game it was. It was Dame time. He was setting him up for that shot. He had confidence in his skills. Dame probably realized if he drove to the basket, Paul George been an excellent defender, having length on him might be hard to finish at the basket. They might be willing to trap off some of his others. Probably wasn't a bad shot for him because he said he ends his workouts with these type of shots. He prepares for these moments. And more importantly, Paul George, you got to have class when you win. You got to have class in defeat. And I know it was a tough question that was asked. That's why he answers the question this way. But I still think that he could have structured it a little bit different. He said, I don't care what anybody says, it's a bad shot. Dame had 50, and he dropped the game winner on you. You might want to structure that a little bit differently because it looks like you're hating. And we know Paul George, 50. And he dropped the game winner on you. You might want to structure that a little bit differently because it looks like you're hating. And we know Paul George is not a hater. We know he's a great person, great player. But you come off as you're giving up a little bit of a hater vibe after somebody hits that type of shot on you, and you start talking about it's a bad shot. Anybody trying to hear that?
Well, you're right. And, it's interesting. I think that shot, and first of all, when I saw it, I'm thinking the nerve, like the gall to kind of like, this is the shot I'm going for to win the game. And he obviously hits it. But I think big picture, it speaks to sort of the evolution of the game, And so you see players like a Dame Lillard, you see a Steph Curry, like the things that they've done, Kevin Durant, just in terms of not necessarily winning game winners, but just how they play, and how they, Kevin Durant 6'10", 6'11", and plays like a shooting guard. Steph Curry, shooting the ball from that kind of range. Dame Lillard having the nerve to shoot. You just see now stuff that 20 years ago players, shooting the ball from that kind of range. Dame Lillard having the nerve to shoot. You just see now stuff that 20 years ago players would not do. And it just speaks to how players have improved. The skill level's better, the shooting is better, the talent is better overall. And that's a good thing. That's what you want, to keep sort of doing something that's never quite been done. And I've never seen anything like that in my years around the sport.
Two quick things. One, let's not forget, we should not lose the fact Paul George, coming off the injury, especially his first season, the frustration probably of what he did with what he was feeling got to be part of it. I want to ask you only got one word answer, yes or no, because we got a lot to get into, but I'm going to ask it. Did we learn in this series that we should be considering Damian Lillard a better player than Russell Westbrook?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's
big statement considering the attention that they get, right? Lots to get to on this show.
Man, you can't go to break after that. We can talk a whole lot.
I'm sorry, they told me to read the promo. I don't even know what's going on, what you guys are talking about. No, yes, I do believe that we learned that. Does he play with Durant? And we'll press your buttons with some of the biggest questions, like, for example, can the Warriors close out Lou Will and close out one side of the floor to help him do it? We've all known, yet people don't seem to be able to stop him from going the way he wants. How is Golden State doing it? We'll break it down. We've all known, yet people don't seem to be able to stop him from going the way he wants. How is Golden State doing it? We'll break it down.